Jesus.
How'd it sound? How'd it sound in the ear hole?
Sound in the ear hole?
No, in the ear hole.
That's the boss episode number
49, Doug. You got me, Doug, Birds behind the camera, Mikeless, because we have another special guest.
We're on a roll with these guests.
Mr. Julian Smith.
Welcome.
Co-owner of Arms Race Nutrition, owner of Clifford Lennox, owner of the Daily Pump. Multi-faceted guest we have.
I can also drive that forklift like a boss.
You did drive that. That was a nice delivery for that.
Wait till they see that footage. They're going to be...
Does that customer
like,
know that you did it for them?
You know what? If that was in a specific box, I should see whose that's going to.
Right.
And then they just get that for free.
Yeah.
All right, I'm on it.
And then they'll save that video forever, and it'll be a big deal.
Probably never open the harness.
No.
That's a lie.
All right, well, let's get in here. Pause for the sponsors. Ready? American Energy, thank you. Oh, you squirted, bro.
Oh, sorry, bro.
That was a good pop, though.
We got a squirter here.
What you got with flavors?
I got Liberty.
I went with grape.
Impeachment.
Let's make America grape again. With that news, in this warehouse, we do no longer have any grape cases.
Oh, is that true?
That's very true. I just tried to sell 30, and I got to tell them they need to pick.
We have no more freedom either.
No freedom, no grape.
All right.
Apple's getting low. So.
All right, well, so we got a lot of questions for Julian, so we got to get into that. But let's go through. Oh, shit balls.
Doug, this is a PG show.
This is a PG. Oh, come on, because, you know what we didn't also do?
Well, before you do this, send me whatever. Did you get any questions from?
I'll get you that.
Weird questions?
This is what happens, Julian.
Oh, are we trying to do that? You're live right now?
Yeah, I'm going to go live, and this is what happens. Usually we're just completely not prepared.
Okay.
And we're like, why do people even watch this?
This is how we live.
Why do people even watch this podcast? All right. So, but I'm going to go live. Meat, do you have anything else you want to share in the beginning of this?
Well, we want to talk about updates. You want to wait for the live, or do you want to get into the updates?
No, you go through the updates while
All right. Well, the reason Julian's here is because Arms Race Nutrition launched 2 new flavors of Foundation. Julian, you want to talk about them?
Yeah, we got a strawberry shortcake right here and maple pancake. I think maple pancake goes perfectly with my vibe and my brand. It's my favorite so far besides the fritter. Strawberry shortcake is a nice little change up though, because
there's chunks of strawberry in there too.
It is.
Yeah, that's a big surprise.
Dehydrated strawberries, right?
Yeah, they're really good. It's just a nice little change up. We started with, we haven't done a chocolate or a vanilla yet, so it's like we're still coming out with these like unique off flavors, but dude, they're just getting better and better. It makes me stoked.
Which we did approve another flavor.
Which might be my favorite. We've all talked about how it's probably not like the most popular out there, but it's one of my favorite flavors ever. So,
oh, dude, it's
signed off on it after the first sip.
So,
what's the current deal running? Is it all week, or what's the deal?
All week through Sunday, 3 for $100. So you can choose any of these flavors. You could do 3 maples.
You get one for $34.99.
$39.99.
$39.99.
Yep.
And then 3 for $100 or $99.
Yep, that's it.
3 for $99.
All right,
I love that deal.
I'm a little slow on the going live here.
All right, Doug, we can multitask. I can still talk here. So we have another deal going. So for core this week.
Well, let's stay on Arms Race for 1 second.
Okay, all right.
All right, so Arms Race. So we got some other big stuff coming up. So we launched these 2 new flavors. We also have a new flavor of harness, which we're not going to get into, but we have a new flavor of harness dropping early November. And then Black Friday, we got a new flavor of harness and another flavor of Foundation.
Yeah, the third that we've always been like teasing to.
Which is actually out here in the warehouse already, and it's bomb.
Yeah.
And then we also have Thermo coming Jan 1.
Yep. A lot of people asking about the Thermo, and I used it for the last, 3 months of my cut. Still using it now. One of the coolest products that we've been coming out with, working towards for a while.
It's every time I go back and look at the formula, I'm like, damn, this is really good. Like, this is just a bomb formula. And then
Are you gonna so it launches January 1? When can the people expect to see the formula? A little sneak
I would
peek?
think a couple weeks before, right?
Somewhere in December.
Yeah. And then we spent, I don't know, a couple hours yesterday basically planning out the next 12 months, I feel like. And our list of ARN stuff is like, it's wild.
Well, it's like a lot of people asked me, they were like, I didn't even realize that, arms races on the East Coast. Like, why would it be over on the, over in Portland or something instead? I'm like, well, this is where Doug, you guys do all of the business for your other products as well. So when we finally come out here and bullshit, we're on separate sides of the country. When I finally come out here, we can get a lot of our work done and plan this stuff out. So anybody who's excited for arms race products that are coming down the line, like, we sat down and nailed out probably 8 brand new ones in just like one sitting, on top of new flavors, on top of I mean, it's exciting.
Yeah.
You know what's an amazing word to complement that? Synergism. There was a lot of synergism.
Okay.
This is
going on
Pat's word.
yesterday.
This is Pat's word.
It's my vocabulary is very small, I would say.
Hey, I'll put that.
So
in
when
mind.
I discovered synergism, I just fell in love with the word, and it's,
Well, guess what? My vocabulary just got a little bit bigger.
there you go.
There you go. You're going to use that, and then
that's
you're going to
right.
think of Pat every time.
Yeah,
like,
pretty
man.
smart.
You write me, you're like, I think you're overdoing it, man. You're saying it every other story. I don't like it, dude.
But is synergism actually a word?
Sure, synergism.
Synergy.
I think synergy or synergize or something like that, but I don't know about synergism.
Well, I got it
With a
from
Z?
Massive Joe's, and Joseph Mansell is way smarter than I am. So he's been lying to me all this time, or just are you technical difficulty? Going?
I am. I'm trying to go live, and it's just shit reception for some
It's a
reason.
noun.
It's a noun.
Okay, what's the definition, Bird?
It's a noun. Noun is synergism, synergy.
Oh my god. Damn. Is it with a Z or an S? Could have been
Should
better.
be
A
with
Z.
Z, yeah.
In
A
Pat's
Z.
world, it's a Z. bro.
It better be a Z.
Synergism.
Jism.
All right. Well, I'm going to try this again in a minute. I can't go live here. So let's get back on to just blow through these deals real quick. So we got a big update on A-Bomb. So you guys have we've been talking about A-Bomb. Everyone's excited for A-Bomb. So A-Bomb's a new pre-workout for Miracle Labs. We're pushing it back a week. So it was supposed to launch next Monday.
They had a failure to launch.
There you go. The 19th. It's pushing off a week. So that's the news there. Core site is going down this weekend. So we've been telling you about this. We're launching a new core website. And we've been saying all along, you want to be one of the first 100 people to buy because, we have big sales basically going all weekend long. And this week we shut it off on the 16th and we'll be closed for business 17th, 18th. It opens back up at noon on Monday the 19th.
So let me just confirm exactly here. So it actually goes down the 17th at 3 a.m., says Sam. So
16th.
Friday night, Saturday morning, it's gone.
So the deal is first 100 people who spend $150 on the core website get a free case of America Energy, free box of beef sticks, and I have to say my personal
We picked the flavor.
favorite design that we've done so far for the core limited release tees. This is G.I. Joe. A throwback to old school. It's a 3/4 baseball shirt with the G.I. Joe there, release 15 on the back. So you get one of these too. So that's the deal. Get it.
Spend 150, first 100 customers. These will also be on sale at the same time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you can pick that up as well.
All right.
Word.
Should we get into questions? I sent you some questions. They're probably extremely weird
I like it.
for Julian.
On the, from your Instagram.
Yes.
Yeah, we only ask for weird questions on the Instagram because we have some other
Yeah. So do you want to get into it? You want me to ask a couple of the questions that I sent you, or how do you want to go, Meat? Let's get Julian into this.
Yours. Ask the boss, bro.
Bring it
I should be asking you, right?
No, you go. You ask the boss, bro.
Yeah, you ask the
do your
boss.
question.
All right. Well, let's. So I started a notepad here.
He's
So
very smart. He has a notepad. We come prepared to these things.
Sticky notes.
let's see. I'm really not that prepared today. I just is a lot of squirreling
This is how
on
we do
today.
it.
Yeah, I'm all over the place. I kind of want to. We are on supplements, so let's kind of dive into some supplement things here. So let's go. So Julian, so what age or when did you first start utilizing supplements? When did you feel like supplements were a key that you wanted to put into your fitness routine?
So I was probably like anybody else where I was like going to the supplement shop the second I had like a license to drive over there. Then before you know it, like some of the stuff behind the glass case and all that stuff, like you 18 or older and you're like, creatine it is. But yeah, it's pretty fun. Like I got into it as a teenager, that first GNC that I was talking about the other day where I went over there and grabbed those harnesses for people. That was the first one I ever went to. I think I was probably 16 or so, grabbed the GNC brand like creatine monohydrate or whatever. And it was flavored, like upset my stomach. I was like, I just got to choke it down, man. That's how you get the gains.
Hey, man, whatever it takes at that point.
Back then, I was like, I don't care if this tastes like pee. I'm drinking it, man, if this is what it's about. But back then, I think...
Were your parents supported support?
Yeah.
So I had to
My
hide
dad-
my creatine
Yeah,
because my mom thought it was a steroid.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people can... I mean, if you train hard and like actually go through bodybuilding the right way, people can spin their wheels and see no progress. But when you first get into bodybuilding... Bobby, you know what I'm talking about. You get those crazy gains like right away. I think that first summer I put on like a good 20 pounds, but probably 12 or so was fat. A lot of, not the first summer, that first year that I trained. And then my dad just equated it with drugs.
Oh, really? So he thought you were.
It wasn't necessarily, he would never call me out. I don't think he'd be the kind of guy who'd be like, I think that you're doing this, because he's not the kind of person who steps out of the lane of his knowledge. Like, he's not going to accuse somebody if he doesn't have the science to back up his accusation. You know what I mean? But accusation, that was wrong.
Accusation,
my bad.
Well, we can just make a new word.
I just drank a little bit too much of this, man. It's all slurring together.
Pat, you know what? Pat knew exactly what you were saying.
I'm following.
We all
I didn't even
moved
know
on.
he messed up.
Thanks, man.
Right.
But yeah, dude, he wasn't very supportive of it. My mom always was. I think my dad, it wasn't until I started to make a little money with it and stuff, and we moved away, and I was able to do it just by myself. That's when he was stoked. But my dad's a business guy. You know, I don't know if very many people would love to see their kid. I put so much time and energy into bodybuilding when I was a kid. Like, I stayed at like a local, I stayed because of my high school girlfriend, but she broke up with me when I went to college. So I went to Portland State University for business, and I was like at basically a commuter school, and all I did was bodybuild. So I think my dad back in the day was a little bit more bummed that, man, like, you don't care about business. You don't really care about college. Like, all you do and talk about is bodybuilding, but you stick with something you care about.
And do you think that was something that have you had the conversation where he might have said that, or is that just something you felt during the time?
I remember the first time he told me to stop bodybuilding. We were on our little fishing boat. We were cruising out to my family was already on the river. He picked me up on the dock because they were waiting for me, and they boated over. And as we're going over.
How old are you now? Like college?
Dude, after college, man. I must have been like 22, 23. And I remember telling my dad, I go, we're not fucking talking about this anymore. Sorry, I don't know if we can use the
no,
cool.
Let her rip.
But I told him, and he was kind of pissed when I said it. I go, why are we having this conversation every day? I go, you mad? That mad that I'm lifting weights that often? And it was the last time we talked about it. It was one of those weird, like,
look who's laughing now.
Yeah, but no, he's stoked about it. You know, my dad he trained for sport. You know, he played college football, he wrestled, he did everything, and it was to get better at a sport. It was never like, oh, I'm going to do this to get good at lifting.
Is his mind kind of blown of how far you've taken it? I mean, because like well, shit, you got the Daily Pump, which is bodybuilding. Like, you're literally getting paid to be a bodybuilder. Yeah. And then the spin-off of the clothing and then the supplements. Is he kind of just amazed at this? I mean, he's got to be pretty proud of this.
Yeah, my dad talks nonstop about how proud he is of me. And it was one of the things, I can openly say that too. It wasn't a lot of feedback growing up. Like, my dad said that he was really proud of me after I graduated from college. That was one of the first times ever. Yeah. And, it was more like sports prior to that in high school and then grades and everything like that. But bodybuilding, you don't get much, appreciation or feedback when it just sucks the money. I mean, I was spending, hundreds of dollars a month before I ever had a sponsor, and my dad's just watching the savings go. And he's probably thinking to himself, like, dude, you're not even getting that big. You know what I mean? Spend all your money on this shit. You know what I mean?
You look the same.
Yeah, you look the same, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to the supplements thing. In my early teens, not early teens, I would have been like 13. Late teens is when I kind of got into it, 16, 17, and it just started off with the creatine.
So my question after that was, what were those supplements?
So it's always going to be a pre. Nothing's better than like spending your hard-earned teen money on like a pre-workout to get.
So what was the pre? I'm trying to think. How old are you now?
I'm 33. So I'll do
8 years. You're 8 years younger than me. So I'm trying to think what would be the pre-work. You're like a C4 guy.
No, it was No Explode.
No Explode. Yeah. Okay,
No
that was even like
the first one. So I remember everyone was like, because it was technically the first pre-workout,
and
right?
It was fizzy.
Yeah. Right? Yes. Yeah. You get a little upset stomach, but everyone's like, that's what it is, and you're like, okay.
No Explode, Cell Mass, True Mass.
Yeah, and I remember watching Ronnie Coleman. He'd be like, he'd go, bottle tells you to take 2. He's like, I take 4. And I was like, okay, cool. But creatine and then a pre-workout. But I will say one of the pre-workouts I had back in the day, I don't know if you guys know about this, or you definitely do, Hemo Rage. You remember that?
Oh, yeah. That was, hold on, Nutrex.
Yeah, I took and I vomited immediately afterwards. Twice, actually. 2 workouts in a row. I was like, can't be twice. And I took
was it the black bottle?
It was the black bottle.
Oh, that's the Hemo Rage Black. Had the DMAA and like a shit ton of caffeine.
Yeah, I took it back to the it's called Hardcore Bodybuilding. That was the sup shop we had. And I took it back to him and I go, I'm vomiting. I did this twice. And he's like, dude, everyone's been bringing it back. He was like, other people have had the same issue. And I was like, oh my God.
So we sold a ton of that in our stores. Like because like Arlington Nutrition Corner opened up in 10 years ago.
Oh shit.
So like that was, Nutrex
it.
was a prominent brand and we sold a ton of that. Like people just were like, what the hell is this? I think people even liked the fact that it like made them vomit. Yeah. They're like, shit, this
hardcore.
This is hardcore.
So there was one other pre that I tried back in the day, and this is actually really funny because I've never done this ever since. Maybe it's because I was so new into bodybuilding. But have you ever heard of Sand Fierce? I mean, it was,
Yes,
Is this a product?
It has
It was a
yellow
pre.
in the
It was a strange looking
Good one.
bottle. It was really good. I actually called the vitamin shop that I bought it from, and I told them that I really liked it. I was like, whoever made this, I'm like, I don't even know. What
I
this
think
brand
that
is.
also had DMA in it too. This is when like all the good stuff
Yeah,
was around. Yeah.
Yeah.
We sold all of that stuff in the store. I remember that. That was a good one.
Yeah, it was not bad.
Yeah.
Not Hemo Rage though. No offense.
You did the Jack 3D, I'm sure, right? Like you
I actually never did.
I never did either.
I missed Jack 3D and I missed because everyone's just like, you never tried it. I'm like, I've never experienced that.
It's because I was getting on my supplements at that age when Jack 3D was big through bodybuilding.com.
Yeah.
And bodybuilding.com was not selling those products.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't.
But wasn't
going into
that
the
one of
GNC.
those things that was behind the glass case? It was one of those like pretty
At
serious.
GNC and
Yeah. So,
At some point, it definitely was.
Yeah. I was like, okay, no explode.
Dude, the amount of
Can't get into the glass case
of
yet.
like Oxy Elite Pro and Jack 3D that sold at GNC
Yeah.
is just mind blowing. Like,
I'm curious. You know, this made me think. I don't even know if you can run the report, but how much you sold through Arlington?
oh, Jack 3D.
Yeah, Jack 3D, Oxy Elite.
We don't even have that data anymore.
No.
It's gone.
Yeah.
All right, what you got? What else
Crazy.
you got, Meat?
All right, so let's. So we're at Orange Race Nutrition now. So, what is your past experience with other supplement companies?
So, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, this is one of the reasons. Like, you got a great story, and
it's-
one of the reasons why
it's
we started.
that, right? So let's go ahead and then the lead follow-up question is that would be, so why Arms Race Nutrition?
Cool. Yeah. So all the subs that I've tried everything. Like I'm the kind of dude back in the day where I'd have Core Nutritional Pre, I'd have Optimum Whey, I'd grab after I was like before I had any sponsored, I would just totally find the stuff that I like, and that's when I found Doug back in the day with Core. We talked about that. How I don't know what I did. I asked you for something. I forgot the specific situation, but you sent me a bunch of free stuff just out of like the kindness. And I was like, well, this is my new favorite brand. So I stuck with Core for a long time. That was probably 21. After I got rocked in my first junior show at 20, I was like, that was my 6-year off season where I'm like, I'm going to make smart choices about my sups. I'm not going to just buy a bunch of shit that could do good. I'm like, I'm going to get a good protein. I'm going to get a good good creatine, and then like really make some progress, But before I got sponsored, my favorites was Core, Optimum, and then it worked out that I got sponsored by Optimum after I won the 2013 Washington Ironman. So I was not pushing Optimum Nutrition, but Optimum was just a product that I liked in the past. So it was like really easy to be sponsored by them, represent them. Everyone had seen me using Optimum prior. It'd be like me getting sponsored by Core. Oh, he was using that stuff before. It just made sense. Right. And there was a couple people that reached out prior to that where it was like, this isn't my thing. I'd think to myself, like, who are the athletes that I'm going to be standing by? Who's formulating this stuff? Do they have pro hormones in their line? What are the kind of things that are going to stop me from being with that company? And that's kind of why I went with Optimum. They had the good name, been around for a long time, one of the first subs I ever tried kind of a thing. And then what I wasn't a big fan of with Optimum was it just got to a point where it was way too much about business and it was trickling down to the athletes. And that's why Optimum is where it's at right now, where it's like, dude, you're not
on the
even
decline.
Yeah, they're on the decline. You're not taking care of your athletes. You're squeezing what you can out of them for $200 of subs a month while they post and ruin their social media. That's why I left. They wanted me to post every single like thing on my page that said it was an ad and all this stuff, and I was like, bye. Wait, what? So I ruin my Instagram with all these ads, and you get all the money, and then I'm screwed?
Let's talk about the Instagram there. So at what point in time, how many followers did you have when you first got sponsored by Optimum? And did you go after them or did they come to you?
So check this out. This is really weird. I don't think this can work anymore, but so I didn't have Instagram at all when I won Washington Ironman. And the woman who helped me out or who came up and approached me was an Optimum, what we called rep.
Yeah.
They go there and they got the stand.
Yeah.
And she made a big play towards the manager at the time, saying that I talked really well when I spoke after winning the overall.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a weird way to say that, but then I get in contact with Bob. We were shooting pics back and forth from like my photo shoot afterwards. He's like, Bob Corbett was the manager at the time. And it just turned into one of those things where it's like, we go back and forth. And then I actually told Bob, I was like, well, what's the next step? He's like, well, now that you're with Optimum, he's like, you got to get some social media going. And I was like, I'm not really a social media guy.
And they were just paying you subs at this point, right?
I never got paid by Optimum, ever.
No cash,
Never.
just subs.
Just $500 worth. That's one of the reasons why I left. I actually asked them on our when the contract came back, I was like, think I can get like an increase, man? I've been with you guys for 3 years. I rep the shit out of your stuff. I'm on the cover of all your magazines that you guys are passing out of these things. Can I get
Throw me a bone.
Yeah, shit, man. And then they straight up were like, no. They were like, and you know what they said? This was like the straw that made me like bail, because they were like, we would love to pay you. They were like, I'll send this freaking cover page to you. I saved it, dude. He's like, I would love to pay you for what you've asked. He goes, the problem is, you've just not shown the work we want at expos. And I'm just like, first of all, I read it and I was like, dude, I work harder than, I unbox shit, bro. Like, I put up the freaking things. Like, what are you talking about? And literally, I highlighted it so I could like save and see it every single time. He goes, we're not happy with how much you talk to the people. And they go, we want you to talk more about subs. Swear to God. So I was like, well, these people are not just here to talk to me about subs. Like, if every single person came up to me and talked about subs, that'd be one thing. But what if someone comes up to me and says, how do I get my biceps to get bigger?
Yeah.
Am I supposed to talk about protein? And that's what they wanted.
Damn.
Revert back to protein. Revert back to sales.
And how many followers did you have at that point? Like, was your Instagram growing when you were?
So my Instagram by the time, so I didn't have Instagram when I got sponsored. And then over the course of being with Optimum, I think I got up to like 200,000 followers. And then by the time that I left Optimum, there was like a 3-month period where I was doing a lot of, I did a bunch of stuff with the membership site for bodybuilding.com, a lot of contract work with them. And they reached out and they were like, and they offered me a salary. And I was like, well, dude, I have nothing right now. And what was cool about bodybuilding.com is they were like, you can use our credit that you get every month and buy other shit. And I was like, core.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm sponsored by bodybuilding.com, but I'm buying all this core shit. You know what I mean? So it was kind of cool to be like, all right, now I'm with a sponsored, group of people that are kind of letting me do my thing. Hey, we don't care what you buy as long as it's from bodybuilding.com, and that's how it's talked about. So
how long Optimum were you with Optimum?
Optimum was, I think, 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 years straight. A lot of fun. Traveled probably 6 or so times a year. Every single expo I can get, kind of a thing.
And then it was bodybuilding. How long were you with bodybuilding.com?
For 1 year. And the problem with bodybuilding.com is, dude, I was on a phone call with, I think, 4 people when I got the pitch for me to be like, just how I talked with you and Kenton, you know what I mean? They pitched the idea. They wanted me to come over there. And then by the time I got to bodybuilding.com, signed everything, 3 weeks later, the entire team that like brought me on all got fired. So like all the pro Julian, all the, hey, we want Julian to be here, they were gone. They got fired. And then the new CEO came in, they're trimming the fat, and it just turned, within the 1 year that I was with them, I just saw the entire
They're still trimming
shift.
fat.
Yeah, it's just
people I work with are. I'm working with a new person for like the 3rd time this year.
Yeah,
trying to.
Yeah, and that in my mind, just how we've talked in the past. Like, arms race nutrition is my end goal. There's no after this. There's no sponsor after this.
Let's talk about that, because that was the conversation. So I was on the back end recruiting Julian the whole time.
Yeah.
So we started talking probably, I don't know, like 6 months before your bodybuilding.com ended.
Yep.
And, I was saying, like, come over to core. And, at that point in time, like, honestly, Julian was getting crazy offers from other brands that, like, I was just like, look, dude, I can't even pay that, right?
We
like,
almost went with Evogen.
Yeah. Like, just ridiculous numbers to, pay a sponsor. Not that you're not worth that.
No, I appreciate it, bro.
But I was just like, I was just like, well, I can't afford that, And then we kind of just went radio silent for a little bit. And then, that was when you basically made the point that is like, my next move has to be my last move.
Yeah.
And so, like, your last move couldn't be with Core or Evogen or whoever. Yep. It had to be your own thing. And that's when, we started talking about, well, we can do that.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think the really cool thing about Arms Race is like the authentic pitch that we can say, like we gave to GNC.
Yeah.
Because like it was really cool. Julian actually has the picture of from 2014 of you posting core stuff.
Yeah.
So it was like, it made sense for us to work together. It wasn't just like some other influencer brand where it's like a get rich quick scheme. And it was truly, we were on the same page in terms of, I was like, look, I'm not going to do a cheap product. We're not going to do just cheap products and just sell it. Like, that's not what we're going to do. And Julian's aligned with that. So it just made sense.
It made a lot of sense. And I think what was really fun about talking and getting into business and how we discuss, like, influencers don't realize that, hey, you know what? You were just with a supplement company last month and now you're pushing this shit. You've just lost credibility, bud.
Yeah.
I do that every single time, dude. Hey, I've been following you for 4 years. Every year you have a new sub company and they're better. They're the best that you've ever had, and the previous product that you had sucks. And it's like, well, you're losing credibility every single time. So that's why that big convo when I was like, dude, I've had 2 sponsors. I was already talking about how much I loved Optimum. Now I'm over at bodybuilding.com talking about how much I love bodybuilding.com. And I was like, the next step that I do, what am I going to go to Evogen, talk about them? Go to the next step, talk about them. It's like all these influencers want to just pick and choose and get the salary and move around. It's like, dude, I want to work hard and have something that's going to last for a long time, not end when I don't talk well enough about subs. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to get into a deal with someone who doesn't like me talking to the fans that get in line, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other interesting part of the story was like your bad experience, right? So when you first got into supplements, and one of the reasons that drove you to kind of go the natural route, right?
Well,
and how that's important and sticks with our branding for our
so back in the day, no offense to Vitamin Shop, but that's where I got that pro hormone. It was called Tren Extreme, something extreme. It just
sounds
like
good.
Sounds real good.
Yeah,
something like that. And it was like 17 years old. I think it was 18, going 19, because it was before my show. It was one of those things where all the guys at the gym were like, bro, man, if you're exhausted, take this. It's been killing it for. I said, but I mean, I'm like, if you're buying it out of Vitamin Shop, I'm like, what's the argument? You know what I mean? It's, I walked in there as a kid, gave you money, and you gave it to me. I'm like, this.
And no one
drugs.
said anything at the time. Like the clerk said, like, you're 18, dude, just eat and train.
Did you ask for that specific product, or you were like,
well, the people from my gym had told me how good it was working. And I was like, okay, well, I'll go check it out. And they're looking at probably a dumb kid who's gonna make a $70 purchase on some banging bottle, and they're like, dude, just take the shit. And I took it, got gyno in my right nipple, still have it. And it's just one of those things where I never wanted to get my gyno removed, and I never wanted to. It was a wake up call. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like pro hormones are a stepping stone for steroid use, and it's like, dude, I have addictive personality. Super addicted, man. I find stuff that I like and makes me feel good. It's like, well, I'm going to continue doing that. And I know that if I put something in me...
Let's do it, Julian. So everyone thinks I'm on drugs. Everyone thinks you're on drugs. We'll show them they're wrong. We're just going to go on a bunch of shit.
Bro, you'll be 40 pounds in like 2 days, and then everyone will go, oh, he was right.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they're like, okay, well...
joke's on
screwed.
you.
Yeah, joke's on you.
250's quick.
Yeah.
Man, my joints just thinking about that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even like 220.
Yeah, but when you're sauced up like that, you can't feel your joints. You just get feeling good.
You just
You know,
juice.
that pump
I
is
just want
so
my neck,
good.
man. Bigger.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Oh, what was the
Trapster,
second part of that again?
Well,
Oh,
it was
we were
kinda
just
like
talking
why-
about how that kind of transitioned you. Like, your bad experience with
Yeah.
supplements is really a motivating factor for doing what we do with Arms Race.
For sure. So back to that. So when I was simultaneously dieting down, clearly I didn't know what I was doing because I needed to go grab a pro hormone to help my diet out.
Yep.
Dude, I got on stage with more body fat, I think. It was trash.
It was probably like watery and
Bro, it was garbage. So, I mean, I'm not even putting it all on like the sup. It was a lack of knowledge on my part, and that led me to that. You know what I mean? But, you start getting to that point where you're looking around and you're like, dude, all of my friends told me to do this. All of my friends told me to do this. Like, these are my training partners. These are the guys that I get my info from. And I'm like, is there no other way to bodybuild besides using drugs? And that's literally why how I found you. So it was like finding out that, and of course back then I'm like, dude, this guy's bigger than everybody. You sure he's natty?
Yeah.
And then you pay attention, dude. I've been following you forever. You're still eating out of the Tupperware. You're still hot, hard in your diet. And people that would talk shit about how you look and say, oh, dude, he's on drugs. They probably do 2 clean meals a day once a week. And they're like, that guy looks that fucking way, man. And you're like, dude.
Isn't it kind of depressing though? Like, I mean, you get it all the time too, right? Like, it's the mindset of the youth these days. Like,
I'm at to a point now where I don't care. I'm like,
me
you want
too.
to spin your wheels and talk shit to me, let 10 years go by and you look like garbage and didn't learn?
And people get so upset about it, and they're so convinced.
Yeah.
They are so convinced. I know he's using shit.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a quick break while we fix this camera. All right, we're back. So we were just finishing up with the dumbass youth of today.
What?
I was just thinking of just the haters, right? Like the haters.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I don't know. Did we finish that story on the steroids?
It's the same thing with everything else, man. It's like, you talk about the trolls, that do the videos and stuff, and it's like people are watching somebody on YouTube that's making a video of them, and they're believing that person, right? And that's the kind of person that comes over and says, you're on drugs. You don't know where they got it, because they're not dropping science-based reasons of why you're drugs, but they're telling you, this is the stack he's on. These are the drug protocols.
I love that. That's great. I was
200 milligrams of Dianabol. What? Okay, or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just nonstop. And I think one of the biggest problems with trolls is just like everyone gets misinformation. You can get online and find a bodybuilder that trains totally wrong, he looks great, trains totally wrong, and then you adapt all those wrong principles.
Well, here's the big question. Are you a part of the Illuminati like I am?
Why? What do you mean?
Bro, you haven't seen that video?
You haven't seen
No,
the
I haven't
video?
seen it.
Bro, Doug's.
Dude, it's the funniest video.
This injection spot aligns with his nipple, which aligns with his ass injection spot, creates this triangle.
It's like a 9-minute video.
Is that why all
Jason, was it Jason Blaha? Is that?
Yeah, that's it.
You remember him?
I know who that guy is.
Yeah, so he did this whole video of how he's convinced I'm on steroids, and he's like, he's part of the Illuminati, and he literally goes through and like I have the, you know, you get really lean, you get the little spots like on you. So he'll connect like the spots, and then he traces it into like a star, and right in the middle is my nipple. So he said I'm part of the Illuminati.
Was he serious?
It's hard to tell with
Maybe
that
at
guy.
first, and then it's like there's like that Philion guy who did the video about me.
Yeah.
So there's whatever the Kenny KO.
Yeah.
I don't like Kenny KO because he talks poorly about me.
Yeah.
You could say that I'm not on drugs, but if you call me or something
Yeah.
like that, you can bleep that one. But it's like, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like, he said that to me. It's like, you don't know me. That's a pretty ridiculous thing. But then the Philion guy, I named my gamer tag the butt puss after that guy because when he made the video about me, he was just like, it was almost, he was talking shit, but he wasn't being rude. There's a weird thing, you know what I mean? Like, don't call me a name, but if you're gonna, he's talking about overdeveloped muscles. You're not calling me something to, you know, take me down a notch or something.
Right.
And then at the end, I actually wrote him on DMs over Instagram, and he wrote me back, and he's like, "Hey man, I'm glad that you thought it was funny. It's all for fun." But when I had that interaction with Kenny KO, it's like,
No, he's
I'm gonna ruin this guy. It's like,
Bro.
bro.
He's not stable. That guy.
That whole thing at the
Hold
Olympia.
on. So remember, I was just gonna say, what people don't see is they don't see Julian reacting to Kenny KO's videos. But what they missed was at the Olympia, Kenny KO came up to us, and I told him, I go, "Where are you gonna be after this? We're doing that drug test."
Yeah.
And he blocked us on all accounts, and I waited outside of his hotel. I have all the screenshots. Man, we can put this up too.
Yeah.
I go, "Where are you, man?" I go, "You said you were gonna drug test me today." I go, "Where are you at?" I've never heard from him since. That was a year ago.
Yeah.
2 years ago?
I just don't understand why people get so obsessed with
a year
somebody
ago.
else. And
Yeah.
It was a year
Last
ago.
Olympia.
Yep, at the Olympia.
Yeah, last Olympia.
Yeah.
All right, Meat. Last supplement
All right,
question.
last
and then we're
supplement
gonna
question. Okay, so what is your favorite ingredient or ingredient that you feel has given you the best results?
I think it's probably going to
Trend.
Ooh.
Well, there goes my answer. I think it's going to be probably the Pico 2 in the creatine. Our Vigor is awesome. Creatine monohydrate and Pico 2, having that in your system. I've been a creatine I think natural bodybuilders can just push creatine because it's fun to sit there and say, dude, it's one of the one things that's just awesome.
And you know it works. It's most
it
studied
works.
and it's safe.
Yeah, it's really cool, and you know, you find something that's just like a step above that monohydrate, just a little bit more kick in the ass. It just makes it more fun. That's what I went to go grab as a 17-year-old kid, creatine. It still freaking works, and that's why it's one of my favorite products.
I think on the arms race side, one of my favorite ingredients has got to be Shodan, right? Like, because I'm a huge believer in ashwagandha.
Yeah.
And I just think KSM 66 is amazing. And, you know, we wanted to do something different and kind of push the envelope a little bit. So we were one of the first people really to start using Shodan, which is a higher extract than KSM 66 in terms of the actives in that ashwagandha. And the stabilized product is awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
And yeah, I think my thing with the reason why when people ask like what my favorite product is or ingredient or something, I kind of center it more towards like the stuff that you're going to feel like results with pretty quick.
Yep.
Like Stabilized, Clarity, and Elemental. I think I feel those products when I come off of them.
yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? But you take, you know, Vigor, you know, 2 weeks in, you're like, did I feel stronger?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
kind of more of the bodybuilder gets you a little more excited.
I mean, honestly, it's really every ingredient in the stack,
yeah.
right? Like you could literally use everything at the same time.
Yep.
And it's just a great all around stack.
For sure.
All right, dude. Let's you want to get into
Let's
some of these-
transition to some weirdness.
All right.
Hit me with it.
Weirdness?
Yeah.
All right.
Is there a lot of talk of nipples
this
and
question,
penises
yeah,
in
this actually does bring up nipples, and it might be from you and me because it's about Julian, or maybe it could be
What does that-
Julian.
what does that
so,
mean?
would you rather have Julian's face on your nipples,
Oh.
or would you rather pea maple pancake foundation forever?
Oh, that, dude.
Julian's definitely going on my nipples.
Yeah. That would be funny.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
And I would rock it proudly.
I might
I'd probably
just
go
see-
shirtless all the time,
Yeah,
or
man.
just cut out my nipples here and just have you there.
You know what? I'm going to get my first tattoo. It's just going to be Patrick's face on my nipple. Beat you to it.
So yeah, I think I got to go with the nipples because like I don't even like peeing when like
Well,
when your pee is yellow.
Yeah, but I mean, it's gonna come out smelling like maple syrup.
And you would survive, I guess.
Yeah, make more friends. Hey, if you're out in the wilderness
and you're peeing protein.
So it's like it is straight protein we're talking, but it's thick. Like I don't even like you wake up like dehydrated and your pee like yellow. That freaks me out. Just imagine peeing that thickness.
Still going with it, man.
I got weird things in my head. Okay, let's move on. If you were kidnapped, what TV cast would you want to come save you?
Sons of Anarchy.
Wow, that's great. Good answer too.
I know from dude. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know.
Even the what are they? The Niners. Any of the gangs from Sons of Anarchy, just come hang.
Yeah,
Help me.
that's huge.
Yeah. Come on, Doug, drop it.
I don't think you can top that.
I mean, you got a biker gang behind you. How about
Gilligan's Island?
Gilligan's? Yeah. You're never. Yeah.
The professor, he's smart as fuck.
Yeah.
You know, like.
So Bobby says the Samoans from Hobbs. I haven't seen Hobbs and Shaw. I got to see that.
But that's a movie, right?
Yeah, that's a movie.
Yeah.
TV cast.
Well, let me think real quick.
Dude, you just killed it with that.
Okay, I'm done. Just stop doing that. Can I just say something real quick? Sons of Anarchy is awesome, right?
So awesome.
Yeah, I'm trying to get Case to watch it, and she will not watch it.
Why?
I think she just that's not her thing. I just think like it doesn't have a lot to do. I mean, it has a lot to do with bikers, but there's so much more to it than just what do you think they're riding around?
It's
bikes
just
all
good
day?
drama. It's just good.
Yeah.
Like
all right.
Good story drama.
Sorry,
Speaking of TV, like we diverge on this a lot and talk about Netflix. What's your favorite series of all time? So like Sons of Anarchy.
But that
Breaking
was a
Breaking
TV.
Bad.
Did you watch that on
Office.
TV or?
The Office.
So here's my thing. I always have like my favorites. Like there's always like movies and stuff that are good, even if they're like scary or trippy or something like that. But I cannot stray away from like a good funny show or like some of my favorite movies are like This Is the End, Wedding Crashers. Like you walk out of it happy. Like nothing. Like Sons of Anarchy. Like I'll walk out of some of those episodes being like, he caught his daughter on fire. It's really uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like you'll shut that off and be like, I don't know if I want to watch the next episode.
Or you might be ready to fight. You know.
Hey.
Wedding Crashers. That is an all-time classic. Like
How could you
whenever
not,
that's
when
like
they're
replaying on
dancing
TV.
and they're doing the shout now, I'm like, I'm gonna jump up and do this, man.
Oh yeah,
I'm
dude,
gonna
that's
get
good. All right, dude. So I'm gonna interrupt real quick because I had this other question here.
I'm gonna save some others for later.
Top 3 favorite movies of all time. Go.
Man, I think I just said some. So I think one, This Is the End. If you've seen it, that's like one of the my funniest. I love that movie.
Who's in that?
So it's Seth Rogen, Danny McBride, basically Jonah Hill, all of those guys. But what they do is play themselves. So what happens is they're all at James Franco. He's one of the main guys.
Yeah.
So they're all at James Franco's house for a party, and the end of the world happens. So you have all these celebrities holding up in James Franco's house. Michael Cera dies immediately. All like Rihanna explodes. Like a lot of, I don't think she explodes, but there's like all these big names, and then it turns into 6 homies trying to like survive the apocalypse, and it is just. The
I gotta
shit.
see that.
Oh, dude, it's your cup of tea, dude.
So that's a comedy.
Yeah,
All
comedy.
right.
One of my other favorites is Shutter Island. That's what's hard about
been a while,
Shutter
right?
Island is like once you know what the end is like, it kind of ruins it for watching it again because it's such a big twist. But easily one of my favorite movies.
I feel like I've seen it. It sounds
Leo,
so
bro.
Leo.
Yes.
Yeah.
You got to watch every one of his movies.
And what's the other one?
still don't
What's the other
really
one where the
understand
ending
it.
is what? Titanic. Yeah, when Patrick holds me over the end of the boat. maybe that's our screenshot.
Yeah, I'll get behind you. It's all right. We are wearing the same outfit, by the way.
I gotta go. Braveheart is one of my.
Braveheart's good.
Braveheart, Shawshank Redemption are definitely in my top 3. Or I don't know what else is up there, but those two.
I think I'm gonna have to pick Arnold, like an Arnold movie, probably like Predator or T2.
I mean, they're just classic. Like
if those movies come on, I'll watch it wherever it's at. Got to finish it. You know what I mean?
T2 was incredible.
It was.
I think that was like one of the first movies where the sequel was better than the original.
I think one of my favorite parts of that movie is where he walks into that bar naked and just beats the shit out of everybody because he wants their stuff. Throws that dude onto the burner, starts burning his hands.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's classic.
I'd go Bad Boys 2. Bad Boys 2.
Bad Boys.
Remember the Titans. The third one's kind of like in the air. The Fast and Furious.
The Notebook.
You know?
Yeah, dude. Fast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Fast.
I
No,
love
the
Fast.
first one.
Yeah.
The first one.
The
right?
Notebook?
Tokyo Drift.
No, not the Notebook. That's a good movie though.
Yeah, Notebook's good.
All right, so
We're
we're
a
gonna
good love story.
we're jumping around here. So we had some break up those questions. I got some little bit more serious questions, a little bit more deep.
Cool.
You ready to go deep?
Yeah,
Go deep
I'm
like?
ready.
All right. So if you could go back and give your 16-year-old self advice, what would that be?
I get this asked pretty frequently. I would just go back and remind myself to be like confident in what I want to do. I think I didn't have a lot of confidence growing up. I think that's one of the lifting things in sports like help that out. But when your family has zero interest in the one thing that you love, and like none of your, like all of my friends, like I have a lot of bodybuilding friends, but some of my best friends, like my buddy Andrew, he will make fun of me for lifting. And he comes to the gym sometimes, he's like, I can't believe you still do this shit. He goes, this is ridiculous. And he'll just dog me for the past 15 years that I still work out. You know what I mean? But it's like, those are the kind of people that I'm around. You know what I mean?
So how does that translate to like your kids? Because I know for me, my big thing is, and I already am teaching Jackson. Griffin's not quite old enough now. Dude, buddy, I'll say, buddy, I don't care what you do or what you find in this world. Because he'll say, like, I want to do this, I want to do that. I said, you just need to be super passionate about it, enjoy what you're doing. And I know that's so cliched.
Well, but because I don't think people like teach their kids that. Like, I don't think my parents taught me that. You know, that's why we're talking about it now. Like, I wish I could have gone back to say, hey, Julian, like, if you like this, you can do something cool one day. As long as you like it and you're passionate about it, you know? Yeah. I just think it was, you know, parents will project what they want. My dad wanted a business degree. People don't know this, but I actually built almost my entire nutritional science degree, and I was like 3 classes away from getting it done. And my dad like somehow found out that that's what I was doing, and we had a full-blown sit-down talk, and I switched to a double major in business. So I got all like the whatever, but it was like my dad, it was one of those things where he was like, you're going to major in nutritional science? And I was like, I thought so.
Well, I mean, that's the route. Like, people ask, like, what was I planning? Did I think I was going to be doing this when I left school?
Yeah.
And no, I was, you know, my brother was already working up the ladder of a corporate, like a high-paying management consulting gig. And, you know, I always thought the best jobs coming out of school is some type of consulting, management consulting, or investment banking, or where you're just working 100 hours a week, grinding, making the money so that you can have like no free time and just, you know, the rat race, right? And I just didn't know better. Like, I went into consulting. Now, I had an amazing job and a great career there, but like, it was not my passion. So like, I mean, that is the big thing. Just go all in on their passion.
And one thing that I would say, just because I think a younger generation can take away from this, I think what's really important nowadays is keeping your word. And keeping your word even if it sucks. Does that make sense? Like, imagine, hey, man, let's go fishing tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., right? We're going to do that. And then tomorrow morning at 5:30, you're like, I'm not doing this shit.
Yeah.
But if you tell somebody and you give somebody your word that you're going to do something, even if it's a minor thing, get in the habit of making it your priority to get it done. Don't be the person who's like, yeah, I signed up for that, but it's harder than I thought it would be. I'm not going to do it. You know, I think people, you know, you guys work very hard. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people want a paycheck and then kind of like move away, but being the kind of person who's like ready to go and like willing to help and be over the top, like people think that you're going to be over the top forever. It's like, you need to get really good at sticking to your word and making sure that I think along like growing up, like I'd pick something that was difficult and be like, way too hard. I'm not gonna do it. Just move on. You know what I mean? And then I'm like, man, I wish I would have kept, like, I played piano for like 5 years and I just hated it. I got good enough. I did recitals, went over there, you know, performed for the old folks home, did everything, you know, and I hated it. And now I wish that I would have pursued it a little bit more so I could have it. I think kids are so quick to bail because it's not instant. I can get on my phone and make myself happy immediately.
I guess that goes back to like, why did you hate it? Did you actually? So now you're saying that you wish you picked it up. So you didn't hate it.
Yeah.
So as the kid, maybe it just wasn't cool, or like
it's like Cameron nowadays. You know, Cameron. You know, I tell him, I'm like, you can get into whatever you want as long as you know go 110%. Like when this thing was happening with, dude, I might have to pee real quick, man. Can I pee real quick? I'm sorry, bro. This was like building up, man. Can I piss real quick? Sorry, dude. I'll get back on this.
That's actually gonna be great,
bro.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna talk about movies. Yeah. Did you say boobies?
Boobies?
Talk about boobies.
Grab your old titties.
Yeah, Dave was all about those boobies yesterday.
I think we need to check Julian's prostate.
Yeah, that was
Aaron prostate.
You know what?
Prostate pill.
He might just have to poop.
Maybe it is.
You know, and he just didn't want to make it awkward on the camera, but now we're making it awkward on the camera, and maybe he just had to poop.
I don't think the camera's filming, but
Oh no, the camera's going.
Oh, it is? Oh, damn.
We rolling. We got the show. So he was actually getting into my next question, which was the biggest advice for high school kids today. Because I just had a run-in with some high school kids.
You
Should I share that shit story?
You Don't tell that story, bro.
I think I should.
Leave a little bit of things out, you know.
Yeah, like threatening their life.
Yeah, maybe that part.
I think it was all like those.
Bro, that was the quickest poop.
Drinking all that. I'm like,
That was the quickest poop ever. I know.
We really thought you had
we
to poop.
thought you had to poop.
Oh, no.
Because it was just so like abrupt, like, oh, that just broke the
it was
seal.
building up. The second you asked that question, I didn't stop, and then you said you.
He couldn't think straight.
Like, fuck, man, I gotta get through.
Like
this.
when you have to pee and you just can't even think straight.
I was sweating.
Yeah.
You got that little bit of the sweats holding it in, bro.
It's a trend.
Get back
It's
to
not.
this.
Yeah.
It's probably what it was.
So this is very much related, and I think you already answered this question. Biggest advice to give high school kids today. So you gave your advice to yourself. So this is very much related. So you talked about sticking to your word.
Yeah.
Anything else for the high school kids of today?
I think one thing that I would recommend for because I think a lot of us saw that growing up. Like when I was in high school, I played a couple sports and video games, and that was kind of it. You know what I mean? I think one thing that I would recommend kids do is like, when you find something that you're actually good at, you'd be surprised at how much fun it is. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't think, getting back into collecting Pokemon cards was going to be that fun. I didn't realize that once, getting into bodybuilding and you see results, you don't even think about the pain anymore because of how much fun it is. You know what I mean? And I would encourage kids to try everything possible, because if a lot of people were like me and listened to their parents, you'd bail on lifting immediately. You won't play the electric guitar, you'll play acoustic. You won't play this, you'll do that. And I think a lot of kids you try everything, because I mean, who knows? Like if I would have picked up piano, back in the day and I got good at it, what if it was one of those things where it's like, dude, I had more fun doing that than bodybuilding? I'll never know, because this is where I'm at right now and I love what I do. But like, I think a lot of kids are just like, my dad wants me to play baseball, so I played it for 15 years.
And hated it.
And it's like, dude, what about football? What about we go across the state for, competitive ice hockey? Even if it's not in your school, like try something, dude.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that I'm going to push with Cam and especially Tommy. Cam's pretty set. I don't think he ever wants to be a bodybuilder. He wants to be a professional football player. And I tell him, man, I go, I don't care what you want to do. You're going to work out. That's what we do in this household. I go, I don't care if you be a bodybuilder. I go, but health and fitness is a part of this household, you know? And he appreciates that too. He'll get in there, get his training done, but it's not everything.
Yeah.
Cam will get over there, game with his friends. He's out in the yard doing stuff by himself. And I think a lot of kids they're waiting for something to be placed in front of them because they haven't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, this is good enough. I won't go out today. And they're just continuing, and you're just like, you're missing all these opportunities, because as we all progress and get better, like Pokemon cards are gone. These are going to be out date one time. And it's like all these things that could potentially be fun that you could be learning might not be available when you're older. Like,
well, we were talking about this last night at dinner, where we were talking about the pluses and minuses of Instagram.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that for a second. So you were making the, not argument. It's not like we were arguing. We were talking about it.
We got in a fist fight.
Yeah, we fought over Instagram. You were talking about how social media, you feel, I mean, obviously there's all the negatives that come with social media, right?
Yeah.
Like being addicted to your phone and not being able to interact with somebody and have a conversation, not being able to learn how to play on your own, stuff like that. But you had an interesting perspective where you were saying, what were you saying?
So I actually think social media is benefiting our generation as long as you have the parents need to parent.
Yeah.
God damn. Like, do I need to say that? Like, just because you donated the sperm, you better freaking be there. And this is my thing. It's like, just because the kids growing up, you need to teach them to be able to, the topic that we were talking about, it was, what was it about again?
I forget. Meat.
I was eating that ribeye.
But we were talking, it was about how kids nowadays, because you have access to, when I was young, I had interactions with my best friend when I was like a third grader. He lived way down the street and I barely saw him.
Yep.
I didn't go home and keep texting him.
Yeah.
So when I would go home, a lot of my interactions were with my parents. Was my dad sitting there on the ground nonstop talking to me like a kid? No. But when Cam is at that age, like he can get done with school as a sixth grader. He didn't have the nicest phone, but you go home and you can talk to all of your friends.
Yeah, and
nonstop, and that's constantly learning to speak better. It's constantly learning to be put in situations that suck, and you got to get out of them. I've seen Cam come in there, and he'll have a throwdown with some friends that probably wouldn't have happened if it was prior to social media. And I'm like, you're dealing with shit that I never had to deal with. So I think kids are going to be mentally stronger. Like I didn't have to. You know why everyone's worried about like bullying? Because we didn't have to worry about it when we were younger. Because if someone came up and said that to us, we'd beat the shit out of them. And I think, or whatever, you know what I mean? But like nowadays, it's like Cam is experiencing that at such a young age. he could be bulletproof
But
by the time
that's
he's
where,
a teenager. You know what I mean?
But I think that's key because like there is a lot of cyberbullying and all that bullshit. So I think it's the open conversations that you're having with your kids and actually being a parent.
So real quick on this, social media in general. So this is like a prime example. The other day, Cam Case and I are in the living room. This is before Tommy was born. And he goes, "The phone's for you." And I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "The phone's for you." And I go, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, this guy says he knows you. And it was Instagram. So somebody who knew me wrote Cam and said he was a friend of his dad's and FaceTime called him. And I like blew this guy apart. I go, "If you ever do this again, this is the most disrespectful thing I've ever seen. You actually had a conversation and lied to my kid." And he came in and brought over. So it was one of those things where, would I have ever dealt with that as a kid? Cam and like teenage kids nowadays that are dealing with this stuff, they're dealing with something that we've never had to deal with. Because back in the day, it's like you just avoid the people that you don't like. "Oh, I don't like that guy. I'm going to go down the different hallway." You know what I mean? But now Cam goes home and the person that doesn't like Cam could be writing on his wall or whatever he has, and he's got to see it. You know what I mean? And I think what's going to happen is a lot of parents are worried because there's a lot of suicide and depression and all this stuff centered around this. But the parents need to reinforce their kids and tell them, like, "Dude, this is the world." Do I get that bothered when people call you're on drugs? Dude, I'm not for everybody. And people need to realize that there's a lot of people in the world that are always going to be against what you think. So you just got to expect some of that stuff. And I think kids are going to handle it a little bit better than we have.
And I think that's key is having a parent, being a parent that the kids can talk to and feel free to share those problems because I think a lot of kids don't have those parents where they feel safe to come to them and tell them the problems that are going on.
Yeah.
And then that's where the depression and the suicide and all that stuff happens because they don't know how to deal with it. Like there's the parental guidance there to, help them deal with it. And I think the other point you were making was the access to information.
Yeah.
You were talking about Cam, like he can research different like routes and patterns and stuff like that for football.
Like I forget that we have that Alexa thing. And I'll just be like, "Man, what's the temp going to be today?" And Cam will be like, "Alexa." And then she'll talk back to him.
My 3-year-old does that. It's so funny.
Like, oh my God. And it's just, I just think it's like when we got smartphones and our parents were like, "Whoa, that's way too complicated for me." It's like, we're kind of at the same level. Our kids one day, we're going to have the knowledge that we've never even thought about. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I think it's a good thing. It's also bad, but how long have we been with this social media thing? 10 freaking years, maybe? This hasn't been around for 40 years where we can figure it out and like get better at it. Like we are the pioneers of like the social media wave. And I think our kids will have it figured out.
Yeah. And
we have the problems.
I think the main key is being present as a parent that's number one.
Yeah. Or presence for your kids. Just kidding.
For presence help too.
Presence, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, if there was no IG right now, speaking of Instagram, what the heck would you be doing?
Probably trying to do something like on my own. I was working in my family's company for a long time in the trucking business. I liked it. I think it was one of those things where I got out of college and everybody that had master's degrees, I only had the double major, and they weren't getting jobs. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to just not work. I'm going to jump in my family's business. I know it, and I'll start working there. I worked there for 7 years, and it was a good experience. I think a lot of people want all their work experience to be nice and easy and fun. Like, dude, go work at McDonald's. Realize that sucks. And then, or not sucks, or realize that it might not be your thing. Go work construction for 14 hours. I used to lay cement. I don't want to do it.
Yeah. Or they think like out of college, they're just going to have one job.
Yeah.
Like they need the expectation of like, give something at 2 to 5 years of time so you can develop experience. And then then you can move, like, you'll be 25 at that point. You still have plenty of life to go.
It's like people that you got these young kids that are always asking, like, what should I be doing at 21? Nothing, dude. You should be still trying to figure out, dude, I didn't make money on Instagram until I was 27. I might have done side hustle. Like I did preps for like all my friends and all the locals in Hillsborough. I used to actually get to a point where I'd have people dropping off like checks and dollars and, in my mailbox. It'd be fun to come out there and be like, oh, this is my payment, in my early 20s and stuff. And it grows to what it is, but probably something fitness related. If there was no way I could have made something happen on there, I probably would have been like a trainer. That's my goal, actually. Is like I don't have the time to be a personal trainer right now, but recently, since after Tommy was born, I've been training Casey in the morning, and it's just fun. It's fun to train people that love it. When I used to train in my early 20s, I'd have clients that would come up to me and they were bummed that they were there. They were irritated with what they were having to do. They were constantly hurt, which they weren't. I knew they weren't. They just didn't want to do it. They didn't want to push that hard. And by the time I was done training 8, 9, 10 clients, I was like, they all hate bodybuilding. I don't want to bodybuild right now. I'm going home.
Yeah.
And I think being around the right kind of people to keep that drive. But yeah, man, if I didn't have Instagram doing this, it'd still be fitness shit.
Word.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go to this one. Biggest personal and professional mistake you have made.
Personal, probably be buying those Pokemon cards in a couple weeks. Just kidding.
Well, that could be huge.
yeah,
And that could be a professional, right?
Yeah. In 15 years when I talk about,
Yeah.
I made $2,000. Okay, whatever. But no, personal. Give me an example of that, man. I can't even
So
think
like personal, like
of relationships,
well,
family.
yeah. Like, man, Casey, having a baby with her, that was a terrible idea. You don't want to say that. That's an example of something.
Yeah, that was
oh
a
my
bad example.
God.
That's an example of a bad example.
Oh my God. Okay, let me think about that. I'll do so there was the business side and
Professional.
personal.
Yeah, yeah.
Professional, I would say I haven't made like a lot of mistakes. I've made I shouldn't say that. I've made a shitload of mistakes, but they haven't been detrimental. I think a lot of my stuff through, and I think more people pull the trigger rather than thinking what they're shooting at. And I've just never, I've made more mistakes in my early 20s, lost enough, you make dumb moves where you're like, dude, I didn't pay that in time or whatever, but I've never been in a situation where it's like, man, my business is in trouble. We've had situations where we got to change manufacturers and shut down the site and move up here, starting the daily pump. I mean, some of the things that we did was like, an issue for us was like putting trademarks across like daily pump and stuff. And, then before you know it, you find out that like almost every other person in the fitness industry has created a membership site, not based off of your idea, but they call it the daily whatever. And you're like, that's pretty effing close. You know what I mean? Yeah, man, I'm not sure, dude. I think one thing that I always think is a mistake in my personal life is not being present enough. I think I sit there and I go, I got to get my swipe up. The sale, man, I got to get the swipe up. And it's just like, bro, it's not that big of a deal on the scale of things. Being 10 minutes late, an error in your caption is not worth fighting with, somebody, you know what I mean? Or being late to something or whatever. I think I've calmed down, with like my, when you're, bodybuilding, a lot of these guys are pretty aggressive and you get around certain people and you butt heads. And I think that was my mistakes, being maybe not open to other people's ideas. Being with Arms Race has been incredible because nothing's better than getting into a business and you don't know that much about what's going on. And then you have to put a lot of trust in the other person. And I think certain things like this will help me to grow more than anything.
Yeah. I mean, I think being present, I think any entrepreneur struggles with it.
I should have just made something up. Dude, I lost $500,000 on this bet one time.
Yeah.
I should just lied.
Or I bought a pack of Pokemon cards for $500,000 and it was worth $3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, got a break. Oh, not a break, but quick.
We good? All right, we're back. So, on this podcast, we sometimes get into controversial topics. So I don't mean to put you on the spot, and I don't want you to talk political.
What if I just unplug this and that'd be so awkward.
And I'm not asking you to tell us who you're voting for or anything like that.
Okay.
But you come from Portland,
Yeah.
which is a huge shitstorm right now.
It's about as bad as it gets.
So I just want to know, like, what do you think about everything that's going on? Like, what is your perspective? I mean, you don't live in Portland, but you're close enough, and businesses that have been shut down completely because of
And
this.
have you seen any of it, I guess, like the unrest?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we went down there like downtown Portland has like, one of the bigger Apple stores and a lot of that stuff. And when you go down there, dude, it's tagged completely up. Businesses are shut down, graffitied everywhere. It's everywhere. I hate that. I think there's nothing good that comes from that. I can't even believe that they let that happen because I got to go there.
Why do you think they're letting it happen? That's what I want to know.
I think that everybody's worried about getting in trouble. These cops are worried about getting into more trouble. And you know what? There's amazing cops out there, and there's some that fucking ruin it for everybody. And you know what? That Derek Chauvin guy, they should have that guy up. That guy got to go home and get protected by the cops for the rest of the night. And you know what? That pissed me off. Dude killed that guy with his knee and then got to go get a haircut and go live at his house and had the police, who I would have called to help me in that situation, protecting the guy who killed it. So in my mind, I look at that situation, I'm like, I'd do that too. Yeah. If I was calling the cops to arrest the dude and they're standing outside of his house to protect him, I'm not getting any justification for my father or friend or anything that just got killed. Yeah. That's my issue with that. Mm-hmm. When it comes to like the rioting and stuff, I think the looting and stuff is ridiculous.
Because it doesn't help the problem. at all.
The problem is there's a shitload of people there for the right reason, and there's those outliers that want to throw a brick and piece the fuck out. It's like the people that are on the outside of like a concert, and you see a beer bottle go flying in, and it nails somebody. You're like, who did it? That guy's not going to get in trouble. No one knows. And it honestly breaks my heart. Portland's one of the cleanest places. We work really hard. I don't know if you guys saw that the other day, dude. There's people that are like, because obviously the hardship, people are like dumping trash up and down like the country roads and stuff. I went out there the other day and grabbed it all. You know, it's just, they're ruining everything, and I'm not okay with that at all. Yeah. There's nothing that you could ever say, and I personally don't think they're even close to the same thing. You're not going to sit there and you can't make an argument that that's okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, and the sad part is it really just, it needs to stop, and it's not helping the cause. It makes the world or the country more divisive as it is.
Yeah.
No one's going to argue that that cop was a good dude. Like, you can't argue with that video. Yeah. But like the crazy thing is, then you might be upset about that. Yeah. You're going to go throw a brick through somebody else's window, and like, how does that help? That just makes things worse, and it makes the division even greater.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's like me being mad over a work issue, and then I get mad at Cameron later because of that issue. But he's like, "What the fuck did that? I didn't do anything." It's like, why are you upset? Like, are you really that mad at me? No, I'm actually mad because of something else. So that's not fair to Cam.
No.
So I think that's a big issue. It's like, I know that there's a lot of people, you know, a big community of people that are like, we're marching for rights. You know, we need our rights, and I think that's awesome.
Yep.
And it's sad that it's been they've had to march for so long. You're still marching to make sure that fucking blows. But I can see the sides, and it breaks my heart when people destroy our town, and it breaks my heart when people don't get to live the life that they want. Could you imagine if someone was like with you and saying, for some reason, stopping you from doing what you wanted?
Yep.
That'd be on the news.
Yep.
No, I'll be on the news. And I just think a lot of people need to realize like what's affecting, like the story that you said the other day, like with the kids.
Yeah.
You know, that wasn't, why are they so mad at you? If they talked to you outside of your front yard or whatever that situation was, probably would have been the nicest guys ever. And it's like they see red and they got to attack it, you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's what we've been seeing in Oregon a lot. But, you know, on top of like all of that, those fires that rolled through, that just wasn't.
Oh, you guys got the perfect storm. Like,
well, dude, Oregon is covered in trees.
Yeah.
So the second we have
and big ass trees,
massive trees. So that's one of the biggest issues too. Like, you know, you have those fires roll through. We have this, you know, super, you know, liberal city, and they're actually shutting down the logging. My buddy Dan Peel Logging and stuff. They're like, we talk all the time about this. Like, you're supposed to fall trees to stop that from happening. You stop logging, you have all these flush forests that are perfectly pushed up against each other. And the second it gets hot enough in Oregon, we have kindling everywhere. So that's why it took over. It wiped out 2 or 3 cities, gone. Like that. I mean,
and so part of that problem was people pushing to stop cutting down the trees.
Yeah. I mean, we don't need to get further on that. Just Portland in general, Oregon, I should say, is just, it's a bit.
Well, I don't really know any of that history in Oregon because I'm not there.
Dude, it's just never ending. I thought the worst was going to be those and the fires. The fires actually kind of cleared a lot of people out because the air was it was the most toxic air in the world for 3 or 4 days. Like you'd go outside, feel a tickle immediately, and I'm like, this is really weird.
Are you finding people? I mean, I don't even know if you would know this, but like a lot of people are leaving California, right? Like right now, there's an exodus from California. Yeah. Are you finding the same thing in Oregon or no?
Well, I don't live in Portland, like you said. So it's rare for me. Like, I'm not going to see my neighbors packing up because, you know, we don't get. I mean, there were some people protesting and stuff, but the people that were protesting in Hillsboro didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah,
they were all sitting on the corners. They were marching, driving around them nice and easy. Yeah. They weren't slamming my truck, doing anything. They're doing what they should be doing, you know. And just a little closer to Portland is where it's bad.
Yeah,
and I do think that they're bailing.
How far are you from, like, so what's the drive like?
So if you fly into Portland, right in downtown, I'd say 35 minutes out. Okay. So you go Portland, Tigard, Beaverton, and then Hillsboro's down 26.
So kind of like, for us, be like driving to D.C.
Yeah.
Much.
All right, so we just took a dark turn.
What's dark? You mean lighten the mood?
Yeah, let's lighten the mood, meat.
All right, let's see if we got some weirdness
juice
in here. Okay.
So Bird is running up on an hour 10 here, so we gotta rapid fire some of these.
Do men out in public go up to you and admire your quads?
No.
That's a lie.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen.
Well, are you talking expos or random people?
Just
Because
Yeah.
expos are like cut and day. I mean, they'll walk up and say, "Drop your pants, man. Let's get that pick." And you're like, "Okay, let's do it."
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
Let's
but
get
other
weird.
than that, no.
Do you feel like you get hit on more than by more guys than?
No girls hit on me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Casey. It's a good thing, man.
Yeah.
I pop in there sometimes, and I had a guy the other day. It was he was like, "You're the most beautiful man I've ever seen," and I screenshot showcase. I'm like, "See,
Still got it.
still got it. I'll take what I can get."
Why doesn't he wear socks?
So the reason why I don't wear socks is because all like the types of movement I do, like they roll down. First of all, I hate high socks because I don't want to hide my calves. I want to show them off. You know what I mean? And then the low cut socks always roll under my heel. So I always find myself I wear them in here. So like these little like low cut guys, but with the authentics, I won't wear because they sit right at where like the shoe sits. And then every time I walk to a new exercise, it pulls the heel down. Got to pop my foot out and do it. And it's just like, dude, Vans are like, what, $45? Sale, $35. It's like, just wear it like it's a sock. And then when it goes
Like a
bad,
nice pair of
toss 'em. Like,
socks,
dude,
yeah.
it's not a $180 pair of boots.
Yeah.
But
So people always bring up Vans. So somebody else asked, Vans still hasn't sponsored Julian yet. Like,
they'll never sponsor me. Ever.
Do you even have a conversation with anybody from Vans? Or you
No,
just
we've
like
had a
the
few people reach out from corporate, and they're fans. So like they'll be like,
Yeah.
"Hey, I'm a big fan of yours. I own 3 stores in Texas. You know, hey, I'm a big fan of yours. I work in the social whatever for Vans." But the problem with Vans is they're massive. They're really massive, and they're a skateboarding brand.
Do they even have like ambassadors or?
Yeah, they're called, I think they're called professional athletes.
Professional skateboarders.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, do we want Julian who shows his legs, or do we want the 14-year-old guy who does
Doing
a 1080? And you're
1080s,
like,
yeah.
fuck, man. See, 1080, we knew that was happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's the demographic. It would be sweet. People see, an over 1 million following repping Vans in every single thing, but I kind of call it more of just like my brand. Like, do I have to have a deal with everything that I wear?
Nope.
Just let me wear the shoes.
Yeah.
I don't want to take everyone's freaking money. Just like the shoes.
Which is thicker, Julian's neck, Doug's biceps, or Pat's meaty thighs?
I think that's what it is. I think it's all separate things.
Yeah, they're all equally.
We're all
They would make
competing.
it-
We're
they-
all getting first place on different categories.
They
you
would
know what I'm saying?
make a nice baby.
Yeah, those things are 9 months pregnant right there.
They'd make a nice
I think
baby.
the thighs need some work. How do you feel when a girl tells a guy that he has a nice ass?
How do you feel?
Oh, I thought you were gonna keep going.
I don't know. Well,
I tell Case all the time. I'm like, I think guys don't get enough love. You know what I mean? We talked about this with that. What was the business we were talking about starting back in the day? It was the men's products. It was
like
Gents or whatever.
Gents, yeah.
And the whole topic of that was like mental health, men's, men are supposed, the vibe of guys nowadays is supposed to be tough. Don't show emotion. You're a hard ass. If you cry, you're a pussy.
Yeah.
And I just feel like guys get so neglected on a lot of the mental health, a lot of, all this stuff. And you're just supposed to be tough. And, to be completely honest, like those are the dudes who are shooting up schools. You know what I mean? That's a big thing that people need to like look into.
So yes, he highly encourages women out there to compliment your man's ass.
Yeah, or more.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 2 or 3 times a day.
You give it a nice little smack.
Oh, did he give you flowers? What did he do for you? Yeah, just tell him his ass looks nice.
Yeah, I'm with that.
all right, last one. If you could time travel forward or backwards, where would you go and why?
I know exactly where I would go.
Forward or backward?
Backward.
Okay.
I would go to, I'm like really into, not recent history, but I really like Greek, is it called Greek mythology and stuff? And I would go back to where they did the Battle of Thermopylae or whatever, 300. That's an actual location that has like a highway next to it now. And I would go back to that battle and see that kind of shit. Something like that, where it's like, see the Coliseum.
And watch as a spectator, or you be in the battle?
Oh, I don't want to die. I
Watch
just want to sit up with a Van shirt and they go, who the fuck is that?
Watch everyone get
Who is
slaughtered.
that? What has he got in his hand? Oh, I gotta get it.
Watch everyone get slaughtered.
Yeah.
Just
Oh, wait, what about you, mate?
Yeah, that might be a little too intense.
I don't
just
know.
something where you could see what people were like back in the day with like a fly on the wall. You know what I mean?
See, I don't know if I'd go in. It's very tempting to go into the future,
I don't want to go.
but like that would really ruin a lot of
You
shit.
just go forward 3 days, but you're not there, and you're like, oh, that's not great. Well, 3 days to figure this out.
Well, no, like even 10 years, right? Because what happens if something fucking terrible happens?
Yeah.
And then you have to go back, and then you have to live with knowing that that terrible thing is going to happen.
Yeah.
Dude, that would.
So you would go backwards.
I think, yeah.
I would go backwards, and I've been saying this. I feel like the world's just like a shithole right now, and like, blah, you don't really like it. So then I was like, you know what? I feel like I was supposed to be in the, I don't know, the 50s or like the 40s.
Yeah.
And like, but
They had their own problems, bro.
right. Then you think about it, it's like, well, they probably had their own problems.
They don't even have iPhones.
Well, the 40s, like, it was World War II going
You're like,
on.
this is really nice. Oh, I'm just gonna check my.
Wait.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Right.
There was like a super funny meme going around during the quarantine, and it was like a time traveler, and it was like, what year is it? 2020, and his face was like, he's like, totally, dude. Yeah, I'd be going
Exactly.
back.
Is that it, boys?
Would you rather eat with chopsticks or drink from a shot glass the rest of your life?
Oh, well, as long as it's not rice, I'll chopstick it up.
Yeah, chopsticks are good. I'm good with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I like chopsticks. Shot glass.
Shit.
I mean, you got
That's a pain in the
you got to
ass.
chug.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Imagine drinking a gallon of water
Yeah.
with one shot glass.
Maybe
Sounds
we
like
should-
a challenge.
It does sound
We
like a
should
challenge.
find out how many shots are in a gallon.
Well, a shot's what, like 1
1
ounce?
Yeah, something like that.
So let's call it 1 ounce. That's 128 shots.
Let's do it.
Sounds like a challenge.
Sounds like a Monday.
Have you done the 10,000 calorie
Oh,
challenge?
yeah.
No, I actually haven't. I've seen I mean, that was huge on YouTube when it was like firing off a couple years ago. And we were talking about it, but just like, I'm not a big eater anymore, dude.
Neither
I
are we.
used to throw down to a point where I was like, dude, I'll take the like couple, probably $200 worth of sushi just filled to the brim. And I just think maybe getting older and like getting a little bit better on everything, it's just like, I don't even require it. I don't even think about it.
We,
It's been circulating
when
here.
Steph and I were like in our early 20s or mid 20s, like we'd go eat sushi and it was disgusting how much sushi we would eat.
throw it down.
And now like we go and it's literally, we order like a third and I'm like, man, I'm full.
Yeah.
So,
it's
but
nice though, huh?
it is nice.
It is because you can stay leaner and you get
Yeah.
you still eat what you want, but like if you have those cravings like you do in the old days where it's like, all right, 2 Chipotle burritos, it's like that's a lot, man. That's the end of your week.
So
You know what I mean?
we've been talking about this recently because we have somebody who comes and visits and works out here, and they've been pushing to do this. So we're thinking about doing it. We've planned a leg day in the morning and an upper body day in the afternoon.
Okay.
Get some sick pumps.
Well, there's also a thing going around like the 10,000 calorie challenge plus a 10,000 calorie burn.
You can't do that on the
don't
same
even know
day.
if
No, yeah, Steve Cook did it.
Did he actually do it though?
Yeah, I think
And
he
how
did.
did he track? Did it like the Apple
So-
Watch or like?
I think it was something like that. It was a 10,000 calories, and then he I think it was straight up trained or whatever it was. It
All
was like
day.
it was something weird like that. But I'm pretty sure he did it. I mean, I don't. To be
Bro,
honest, I doesn't
Because
even
like
sound
we
fun.
probably did 1,000 with our leg workout that took us 2 hours, right?
Like, how
So,
do you even fit that in? Like, so that means we'd have to do that 12 times. Okay, so I guess we'd get that, right? That workout 10 times?
Yeah.
Bro, it's not happening.
Yeah, but like think about what you could do. I think what he did. So if you're thinking like training is going to do it, imagine doing real high intensity sled pushes. Like that would really start kicking those calories up. You probably get a gnarly training session. I think that's what he did. It was like circuit training to get the regular calories, but it was like jump rope and everything you would like. It's like conditioning wrestling.
Yeah, I'm
practice.
not doing that. I'll just eat the 10,000.
Yeah. You just finish it and you start the workout. You're like, I'm done.
I don't think you could do those in the same day, though, right? Because you'd feel so.
No, I think that's the goal.
But that's the goal. Yeah.
Yeah, you're supposed to.
You have to
you're-
burn 10,000, eat
and then get it
10,000.
back. Yeah.
In the same day, like you're
Yeah.
eating donuts as you're doing jump rope. Someone's
Yeah.
like
Pretty much.
throwing them in
Yeah, it
there.
would have to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't even think you'd be able to handle that if you don't have the appetite. Like that's why I didn't even think about doing it because I'm like I'm not as cool as I used to be in regards to like eating food. I'm like a sandwich and that's it.
Yeah.
So
I'm with you. Should we? What's our screenshot?
Whatever you want us to be, Doug.
I think we should make Julian drop his pants. No,
On
I'm
the
just
table?
kidding. On the table. On the table. What's our screenshot, Bird? Come on, we got to get it.
how about like want to do like a cheers in
Let's
the
do
middle?
it. We
That's
all.
an easy one.
That's a go-to. That's a good
Oh,
one.
is that? Oh fuck.
Yeah. Way to go, real original, Julian.
You're like everyone.
Yeah, and then you get Mead's.
3, 2, 1.
Word. All right. Thanks, man. Appreciate the time.
Yeah.
That's it. Till next time, guys. Keep crushing it.